What's going on, guys? It's the 21st of August, Tuesday here. I'm in Colorado for one last day before I go home, just enjoying the nature, taking a little bit of mental recuperation time as well before I get back on the video grind at home with the whiteboard and the desk and all that. But anyway, I did want to make a video today, seeing as it is the 21st of August, and the reason being is because it's the 1-year anniversary of William Tompkins' passing. He passed away a year ago today, which happened to be the day of the solar eclipse last year, coincidentally, synchronistically, the day he passed on. And if you're not familiar with who William Tompkins is, he is probably the most important whistleblower, we could call him for lack of a better term, really an insider, or we could even call him a sanctioned disseminator of information regarding secret space programs and ETs and the whole UFO topic. You know, he was out there disclosing so much and helping us piece together so many dots about that topic. You know, for a short kind of life synopsis on who William Tompkins is, he lived in Long Beach when he was really young. He passed away last year, mind you, at the age of 94. So he's had a long life, and he lived in Long Beach in the 1930s and 40s. And really what happened is that he was born with a natural gift, a gift of visualization, a gift of art and design. And what he would do when he was a young boy is he would go to Long Beach Harbor and he would tour the Navy ships. And then he would make scale models of the naval ships in the harbor there, just based upon his own sketches and drawings and his remembrance of what they looked like during the tours. And his designs were so amazing at a very young age that they got featured in a storefront there on Hollywood Boulevard, right? And then one day, a couple naval intelligence officers were walking down the street and they see these scale models of naval ships in the storefront there, and they were shocked because they saw classified systems like radar systems and weapon systems on these scale models. So they figured it had to have been a spy or something that made these. So they ended up interrogating the store owner, which was William Tompkins' dad. They literally interrogated him for a couple of days and found out, well, it wasn't a Japanese spy or anything. It was just young William Tompkins there, young boy. I think he was 9, 10, 11, you know, very young. So they ended up finding out it was him, and these naval intelligence officers, basically the Navy, recruited him, kind of groomed him out of high school, and he ended up going into the service right out of high school, and that was during the times of World War II. And very top levels of the Navy knew about Tompkins because they knew about his skills, they knew about his witnessing of the Battle of LA event as well. William Tompkins was a witness to that mass UFO sighting in Long Beach in 1942. Very important thing to look up and understand, because the Army and the Navy were actually able to recover a couple ET drones and try to reverse engineer them. Anyway, William Tompkins was a witness to that UFO event. The Navy also knew that Tompkins was a contactee, and he got telepathic communication from, you know, non-earthly beings, Nordic beings that were trying to assist him. So the Navy groomed him, brought him into the naval intelligence programs basically right out of high school in World War II, and his job, William Tompkins' job, was to debrief naval spies during World War II. Naval spies that were embedded in German secret space programs. There was 29 spies, a naval program. I think it was James Forrestal himself that commissioned it. And these 29 spies would come back from the German aerospace programs and black projects over there during World War II, came over here, and Tompkins, along with a couple naval captains and Admiral Rick Obata, it was his job to debrief these spies. So he had quite a job doing that. And then after his 4-year stint in the Navy, in naval intelligence, he got out. He worked for Lockheed, worked for TRW. Then he got a job at Douglas Aircraft Company, 1950. And at Douglas Aircraft Company, William Tompkins was essentially, you know, they knew about his models, they knew about his skills, and they brought him into a classified think tank called Advanced Design in Douglas Aircraft Company in the 1950s. And it was William Tompkins' job to literally develop electrogravitic spacecraft for the Navy. you know, based upon these designs that a lot of these spies were bringing over, based upon what the projects were learning about the reverse engineering they were doing too. So William Tompkins literally designed the, you know, initial stages of a naval secret space program, later to be literally commissioned and in operation as of the 1980s, you know, a few decades later. So William Tompkins learned a lot. He had a lot to say. He has an amazing life story. Go check him out. And towards the end of his life in the 2000s and 2010s, he began to write down all of his story. He came out with a book in 2015. Essentially, William Tompkins claimed that some of his naval contacts were pressing him to go forward with all of his information, his experience, because it's so broad and encompassing, and it's so important to get out there at this particular time to disclose these things. You know, there are white hats within the Navy, within even the Air Force, even in the three-letter agencies that want to disclose what's been kept secret by the military-industrial complex, especially in the Navy. A lot of guys in the Navy are putting their white hats on and trying to get that info out there. So they urged Tompkins to come forward. Tompkins wrote some books, came out with a book in 2015 called Selected by Extraterrestrials, where he discusses how the ETs were helping him when he was designing for the Navy. You know, it's like certain ET factions, such as the Nordics, were trying to assist the positive military groups. They still are, actually. They still are to this day. So look into Tompkins' story, R.I.P. Tompkins. Just want to share you guys his story in commemoration, and offer you actually go check out the very last interview that I was lucky enough to do with him. I'll drop a link down below, make a little card pop up, and you can see his very last interview that I was lucky enough to conduct with him. And I'll drop some other interviews of his down below and links where you can go check his story out. I'll be back home very soon. Talk to you guys shortly.